Hey, what's up? So I wanted to share some early impressions of Star Wars Outlaws. I was thinking about I was gonna wait until I finish this game and then do a full review because like I already have like quite a bit of notes going on just for playing like about around 10-ish hours. Um, but then I thought about it and I was like, well, maybe I'll help somebody decide if they want to get this closer to launch than wait and whatever. I'm playing with Ubi Plus. I subscribed only to play this game. I'll probably end up playing something else too. I don't know. But I subscribed just for this game. I with Ubisoft, you don't get a full game unless you buy the season pass, and that's so annoying. Like most companies now. Anyways, um, yeah, man, this game is amazing, and I don't want to overhype it or anything, but I'm probably going to unintentionally because I really love it and I really think it is that freaking good. I thought the intro was perfect, pretty much. Like generally, the it's a little bit slowish, right? Like you got to get to you don't really know the character, and you kind of throw it into this quick like startup, right? Like you're a thief and you're paid to go steal and whatever, right? But it is cool. There are some little bits of personal story with the character Kay. I actually like her. I think she's pretty cool. Um, but the intro was cool. It was actually pretty nice. It's an adventure. This is a real Star Wars adventure, and I'm just like, everything's amazing. So little notes and stuff. I really like the interface and the HUD. Very well done. It's also super smooth for pretty much everything. It like when you go into the menu, when you're going through things, everything is just really smooth and nice. It feels really good. And I do mention that specifically because there are a lot of games that take seconds between menus, like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, sometimes longer depending on the game. So yeah, that's a nice smooth experience with the interface and HUD. And that includes photo mode, even photo mode. And the photo mode doesn't have a keybind. You can't even keybind it. It was one of the first things I looked for. It's usually one of the first things I look for when a game has photo mode. Is I'll go check the keybind for photo mode because I use it so often that I always change it to something that I'm gonna easily access. So I was glad to see while it doesn't have a keybind for photo mode, um, the transition from menu, like when you pause the game, transition from game to pause menu to photo mode is almost instantaneous, right? Like it's just so smooth, and then back out again. When you come back out of photo mode, just poof right back into the game, right? Everything is just smooth, man. Like it's just like, oh my gosh, this is not normal. This is nice. This is a really nice interface. Everything is very smooth. The has amazing music. And it's funny because like so much of the world and everything else is so great so far. That the music was finally the last thing I realized. I was like, oh yeah, the music's really good. like I really like the music a lot. Like this is freaking awesome. Uh, there's action-packed story through the main missions. Like it's kind of it's a ride. It's a roller coaster ride. There are slow parts. There is forced stealth in the game. However, I actually find the stealth to be really, really good. Mostly because there's so many different options, so many different ways to get around. There's different paths that you can take. There's an average of 2 paths like per stealth mission. An average like per little piece that you're going through. So there's no matter what, you're always finding a different way that you could have gone around, or it's really good. So while it does force it on you, it also gives you plenty of options. So you're not stuck on this one part that's just overly difficult and annoying. You can just find a different way around, which is I think that's really cool. Also, I've only played that I can remember like maybe 2 missions that forced stealth to the point where if you were caught by the enemy, if you were spotted, you would be failing the mission. Most of the time, if it's a stealth mission and once you go guns blazing, you can just finish it off guns blazing. You can also escape. Like you can still. I usually end up just getting rid of everybody. But you can, if they spot you, you can still get out of line of sight and they can lose you, and the alarm goes down or whatever. And there's also parts where it doesn't, and they will hunt you forever. They have a wanted type level thing. It's pretty interesting. It's cool. I haven't done too much with Wanted. I've only been fully Wanted once, and I don't know like what happened with that. I did end up dying, um, just from I don't know. I think I messed up at that part. Like I was kicking some. I was just murdering everybody, and then I think I got stuck on something. I remember. Anyways, there's lots of side stuff. This is a full blown open world, man. Like I was not expecting this. Like I mean, I knew it was gonna be like an open world game, but I didn't know it was gonna have like it's gonna be very alive and have so much stuff to do. Because there are open world games that aren't bloated with content, right? And so far, I don't think this is bloated. It doesn't feel bloated because there's so much variety. There's so much variety in everything, man. The environments, the characters, dude, and the different types of things that you do and collect, right? Like you collect upgrade parts for your weapon, upgrade parts for your ship. There's also not as many so far that I've seen, like different outfits that you can collect. And of course, they don't. Most of them look pretty dumb. It's got because it's got like these realistic kind of outfit type things. Nothing like super. Yeah, nothing usually like super cool. There's one outfit that I want to get, but it is cool that you can actually get different outfits for your character. Like that's neat, and it has a transmog type thing that I didn't even know about at first. Somebody told me about that in a Discord. But yeah, you can the outfits actually have stats on them, kind of. There, I don't have many yet, but there are cosmetic outfits that you get from, I guess the season pass or whatever, and there probably will be with Twitch Prime eventually. I don't know, but there are cosmetic outfits that don't have stats, and there's outfits in the game that you buy from vendors that actually change different stats. Like some of them, I can't even remember. For example, like it might increase your grenade, something this or that. They're little things that are not like super important, but you would like to have it if it's gonna be there, So on top of the outfit having like increasing little perks on it, you can actually change the way the outfit looks to one of the other outfits that you've unlocked. So that's cool. I did not know that at first. What else? Clunky mountain climbing, can't really do it. Would have been cooler if it played like Assassin's Creed for that. Yeah, and so I'll explain on that. It has a little bit of clunky mountain climbing because you're not supposed to climb mountains in this game. You do get forced to go around, right? Like you have to go around the paths and stuff. So that was a little disappointing. I was like, man, if this was like Assassin's Creed where you could just climb over everything and whatever, that would have been freaking cool. But it's not necessary. But yeah, there is that like mountain path thing you have to walk around once. So yeah, so that was a little disappointing. That note should have been set aside for my negative parts, but whatever. Let's see, treasure rooms that require you to explore and open the access, yeah, okay. So there's treasure rooms like you. I guess it's weird. You'll come across treasure rooms, and not every treasure room is like this, but some of the treasure rooms require you to go get key codes, and they're actually like out. There's like 3 different key codes, and they're going to be in 3 different spots out in the open world. So you have to go out and go do these other little things to get those key cards before you can come back to this treasure room that you found and open it. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, on top of that, the exploration is actually worth it in this game. So far from what I've seen, and it's not always like super rewarding, but you usually get something for it. You're usually going to get like crafting materials for upgrading your weapon or your ship and stuff. If you explore, you're going to find little extra bits of loot, even if it's not important. But it is cool because if you explore, you find little corners and stuff. You're usually rewarded for it, and that's freaking awesome. I was like, wow, this is cool. It makes me want to go check every nook and cranny. Too many games have that where you go exploring and it's just literally pointless. It's like, okay, let me see. The world is fully alive with active NPCs and random chats about what's happening in the world. Yeah, this is super cool because and it's not everybody, but a lot of times you're walking through the city, even yeah, I think even in the open world, you'll hear the guards talking, the Empire guards and these stormtroopers. You'll hear conversations, and they'll be talking about stuff that's going on in the Star Wars world and the story and stuff. I actually don't even remember when this game takes place. Like I love Star Wars, but I'm not like a super fanatic. Like I don't try to remember all the lore and get into the deep details or anything. But I do like Star Wars a lot. It's pretty cool. I put a specific note here. I have about 10 hours played. My save is at like 12 hours or something, but there's a little bit of idle time here and there. You know, stop to take a break, get a snack, stuff like that. So I'm around 10 hours played. And I feel like I've gotten a lot done. Like when I saw the time on my save, and I was like, wait, I've only played for that much. It feels like I've done like a million things. Yeah, no, it's freaking cool, man. I'm impressed. I'm super impressed, man. All right, so some extra notes. Combat angry face is funny. Combat face is always bad angry. Yeah. So in combat, Kay always looked like, not about 99% of the time, she looks like weird and awkward, but definitely always angry. Super angry, which kind of makes sense. Like if you're in combat and you're fighting enemies, I think it makes sense you'd be angry. It also made me wonder, is AI used for the facial animations to decide like how she looks at certain times or whatever? I don't, it's just weird. And the reason that I wonder that is because of the facial expression. Like, I don't know if an artist would actually make a facial expression like that. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It reminds me a little bit of Mass Effect Andromeda, how some of those facial expressions were just like, what in the hell is that? You know? So you know, so we have this thing in our world with all this AI being taken over or whatever, and I'm sure they've been using it for a long time, right? You know, if it was being used back in Mass Effect Andromeda, right? So it just made me wonder. I was like, because I can't imagine, I don't know, I can't imagine like an artist who's working on these animations and stuff would deliberately make that face go that way. And what's really interesting is during photo mode, I found that her face actually changes. I think it depends on the focus, like on if you're zoomed in with the focus thing, or because her face doesn't always change expressions in photo mode, but there are times in photo mode where I'll see her face will like be just changing in photo mode. Man, her smile will move up and down, and her eyes will kind of squint or unsquint, and it's just doing stuff. Anyway, so I can't help but wonder and believe that AI has probably been used to decide some kind of animation stuff or whatever. More melee animations would have been nice. Melee combat, of course, is not the focus in this game, but it would have been cool if there were more animations for it. That's all, because you're gonna do it often enough, you know. So it's not needed. It reminds me a little bit of Watch Dogs Legion, but not quite. It's more reminds me of Uncharted. This game reminds me of Uncharted. I kept thinking about it for a while. I was like, because I was thinking Zelda, especially with the way the open world exploration is, the fact that you can explore, be rewarded, and you not well. I don't know. I mean, because I've been rewarded for exploring, I barely ever had to like. I'm not constantly checking the map and just looking for that secret spot and going there. Because I'll be on a mission or a side mission, and I'll just explore while doing that without checking the map, and it's freaking great. And as far as I can tell, I don't know for sure because I barely use the map, but I believe that it doesn't show every little thing right away or whatever, and there's no towers unlocked to reveal things or anything that I know of so far. Why was I saying that? Anyway, it's just really cool. But yeah, more melee. Oh yeah, because it reminds me of kind of Zelda-ish with the exploration of the world and how open the world is and stuff. But Uncharted, yeah, third-person shooter with a little bit of melee thrown in. I was surprised. I remember, I'm telling you, I kept thinking, I was like, what does this remind me? It reminded me of something. This game is reminding me of something that it shouldn't be reminding me of. And Uncharted finally came to my head, and I was like, oh, this is like a sci-fi Uncharted, man. Like, this is a Star Wars Uncharted. Now, I don't want to, like, people might think I'm weird for that, but I believe you might understand where I'm coming from if and when you play it. Because, I was thinking, I wrote this on Discord and Twitter. I was like, you know, it's like Uncharted, but more open world. Because this actually is an open world game. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. The third-person shooter and with some melee combat thrown in. It's neat. Huh. Okay. What else do I got here? Oh yeah. Soon as like I had a bad experience quite often on the bike when I was first driving it, and it's still a little. I'm more used to it, but it's still a little funky. But anyways, as soon as getting to the first town on the bike, instantly getting stuck inside of another NPC by driving into it. So the bike controls does not have like a stop on a dime thing, which is fine. But they do have some weird controls, especially on keyboard mouse. I have not tried this with a controller yet, and I don't plan to. The keyboard controls are perfectly fine. A little bit of getting used to on the bike. But yeah, so the bike, as you're riding it, it kind of slows down. Depends on the speed you're going to, but usually you're gonna have some momentum going. And when you like hit the brake or whatever, the bike will kind of still skid forward or whatever. So it's taken me a while to get used to that, especially because of how fast it goes. So you really kind of have to prepare yourself ahead of where you're going to like stop the bike. And I don't like doing it too early, you know, right? But it makes sense to do it early, with with what can happen, slamming into walls, man, slamming into other NPCs, and literally getting stuck in between them and another bike that because you crashed into it. That was annoying. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, so I had some trouble with the bike at first, but it is cool. It is fun to drive. An interesting thing about the bike as you drive it on keyboard and mouse is the A and D keys, left and right, normal. But there's also mouse control, which apparently you can turn off. I still haven't done it. I looked for it for a second, and somebody mentioned you could actually turn that off, but I just don't use it. So the mouse controls, when you move the mouse left and right, it has a sensitivity, and you see a cursor in the middle of the screen, and it goes left and it goes right, and you can control it that way. But I mean, I think it's a cool idea, but it's unnecessary, and so far I haven't had any real use for it. But I did think it was cool that that was there as a mechanic. Like, but yeah, it is. Sadly, think it might be a wasted mechanic. I don't know. Somebody else might really enjoy it and be like, "Oh man, this is why it's so much better than doing the basic way or whatever." So I don't know, and I might even figure that out at some point during the game. I don't expect to, but it's possible. Anyways, so yeah, A and D is the left and right, or you can use your mouse to do like sensitive steering control ish type thing, and it can be tricky because the thing that makes it a problem is that normally when you're in a vehicle in any game or whatever like this, you're expecting to move the camera, but you do not move the camera with the mouse. The camera follows the direction that you're facing. So if you're turning left, the camera goes that way, right? It's one of those things, which is fine. But yeah, so that's why you're either gonna use the steering on the keyboard or you're gonna use it on the mouse. You wouldn't want to do it on both, and until you get used to it, you're probably going to be doing it on both on accident, you know, because you're used to moving the camera as you drive. Okay, anyways, let me see. Reputation system sucks. I forgot. As I kind of had a feeling when I wrote this note, I might not be sure on that. It immediately feels punishing. No feel on it yet. When I wrote that, I forgot. I didn't like the reputation system at first because right away, when you're showing it and you're kind of going through it, you can see that like. Because whenever there's a reputation system, I always want to kind of get positive with every reputation, every different clan or whatever. But you immediately are already like lowering one of the reputations right away, into full blown like a negative, and it does make me wonder. I haven't gotten there yet, but I plan to try to raise that reputation back up at some point. So first, really early in the first introduction to the reputation system, I didn't like it. Because it feels immediately punishing. But the more I played the game, I was like, I don't need these guys to be on my side anyways. Like, whatever, I don't care, you know. So we'll see how that goes, how that plays out. Let's see. Food minigame, pretty stupid, especially on keyboard. I think there wasn't even, I can't even remember if that was a real minigame or not. I don't, okay, I can't remember on that one. Should have just not read that. Whatever. Let's see. I already mentioned the stealth levels, which I love the multiple angles that you can approach from. It's pretty, it's very interesting because even in stealth levels in any game, I still want to beat up enemies. I can't help it. Like I always want to take them down stealthily, right? I want to do the stealth attacks and take them down. But what I do like about this is how easy it is to avoid every damn enemy. You just have to look around, man, find different ways to get around, and it's well done. I really like the design on it. I think because if it was a stealth-focused game, it would be a lot harder to get around things. Like this one has stealth and force stealth, but it gives you so many options that it doesn't feel like even if it doesn't feel like you're forced to do it because because it's there's just so many options for it. I don't know. I like it. I like it. Just especially being like if I wanted to play a stealth focused game, then I'd want them to be harder, right? You know what I mean? But I don't want to play a stealth focused game, so I like the way they did it in this one. Let's see. Oh yeah. I think this is a truly incredible Star Wars experience. The only thing that I think is missing from this game so far, I haven't seen it yet, and I imagine we might see it by the end of the game. There might be some like cliffhanger thing or like some super cool stuff. I hope so. I don't know yet. But lightsabers, Jedi, Sith, where are they? So I haven't gotten there yet. I really do hope they come up eventually in the game, and if they don't, that's fine. But it would be nice to see, be a part of the story somewhere at some point, you know. I especially, dude, this game would have been amazing if you could pick a Jedi, a Sith, or the scoundrel as different types of characters to play through the campaign. Makes sense that you don't because you're specifically playing the story of K, right? Like, so that makes sense. It would just been cool if because this world is incredible, and it's yeah, it just would have been cool if we could. So hopefully in a future game or something they'll do something like that. I don't know. Yeah. I so far I don't know, man. I one of my most favorite Star Wars games has been Star Wars on Force Unleashed, and I also really liked Part 2 a lot. The story is not that great in Part 2, but the game was freaking awesome. And I like this way more. Way more. But of course, this is, you know, years later. Hold on a sec, dang it. Okay, sorry. You know, this is a long time after the Star Wars Force Unleashed games. So generally they're usually going to be better when it's a newer game. Usually, not always, but 90% of the time, right? Like a newer game is usually better than an older one. As far as like improvements, okay, as far as improvements, not nostalgia and favorite games and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, so I really love this game. Let me see. Okay, just a couple bugs that I thought were interesting. The hover bike randomly gets put into reverse. I still have not figured out why. So you have, as far as I could tell, W is throttle, right? Like W is forward and S is backward, or not back, the brake. S and control are both brake, which I kind of like, because there's like an e-brake style thing with the brake, so control works better for that. So I thought that was interesting that they had two different keybinds for the brake. Anyways, so yeah, I'm often enough my bike is getting put randomly in reverse, and I don't understand why or how. I haven't figured that out. I don't know. Like, it seems like a bug, but maybe I'm just pressing something wrong somehow, right? You know, and it's really damned annoying, dude. It's so freaking annoying. A big headline right now, big one, you know, getting the funk, is that apparently there's headlines. Ubisoft is telling players that they'll have to start a new save if they're on the PS5. So there's an issue with PS5 saves, and I don't know why or how. There's no real details on it other than somebody had contacted support, got a reply saying you're going to have to start a new save when the patch goes out. Like, you're going to have to wait for the day one patch, basically, I think, is if I remember correctly, because they're playing like the early few days, you know, right? So not only does that ruin their early days, but they have to wait for the patch and then they have to start over again. That's not everybody. That's not every single PS5 user. So it made me wonder. I was like, well, if it's not every PS5 user, like, what exactly happened? And it makes me think that maybe, I don't know, maybe this happened for some people that got an early copy because it was just delivered them too soon. Like, they weren't supposed to get it already, and because they weren't supposed to have it already, they started the game before like some update got uploaded to the PS5 or whatever. I don't know, I'm just guessing, because it doesn't make sense that this doesn't affect every PS5 user. It's just weird. It's a weird situation, unless they were to actually be clear about it and explain this is what happened and this is why the PS5 saves were broken. But all I do know is that it's not every PS5 player. So of course, the reason I wanted to mention it is because, of course, there's a lot of hate about it. There's a lot of like, oh, you know, whatever, big hissy fit on the internet. On top of that, besides the PS5 broken save thing, is like an image floating around. Well, the one image, of course, the one image of where Kay's looking goofy. And there's plenty of times that I've seen Kay look goofy in the game, and it's annoying. But this isn't the only game. There's plenty of games I've played where, like, you know, they're even Uncharted sometimes, but their face will look weird. They'll just have this really weird looking face during some part while you're, you know, and it happens a lot, right? You know, it does happen quite a bit in this game. And look, man, I don't know why they decided to make her a little bit more manly looking. I'm not a fan of that. I think she's pretty. I think the character's pretty, but I don't know why it's more manly. And one of my thoughts was it kind of reminds me of Sigourney Weaver, which I thought was really funny because I've seen so many people talk about how sexy and beautiful she is, and I'm like, ew, just ew, Sigourney, ew. So, but I had to, like, I'm like, you know what? All right, Kay's prettier than Sigourney Weaver, okay. But, anyways, yeah. So the internet, of course, the sheeple zombies, just all of them posting the same exact picture. And it reminds me of Mass Effect Andromeda with that one GIF, right? And there were a few, but there was always the one. You always saw the one. Everybody was posting the one. Oh, this game sucks. Look at this. And this is just the one thing. You know, and I played Mass Effect Andromeda. It was really good. I liked it a lot. I had some issues with it. You know, I think they ended up fixing the way you walk and run, but I can't remember for sure. It was very loose and weird. Anyways, but yeah, so the sheep will jump on that nonsense, you know, whatever. I also remembered as I was sitting here, and because I'm done with my notes for now, I was looking at the screenshots a little bit. I finally ended up turning off the film grain, and depending, like, I usually turn it off in games when I see it as an option, but sometimes some games actually look better with the film grain on. It depends on the scene too, you know. This game has really bad film grain. It's terrible. It's just fuzz, man. Just fuzz. Oh my gosh, and you can see it in my early screenshots. The game's still beautiful, but it was just like, this is funky, man, you know. And I think I didn't realize there was a film grain, or I forgot there was a film grain for a little bit. And I was messing with settings. I was trying to figure out, like, what settings, this and that. And then finally I was like, oh yeah, film grain, I got to turn that off. And you know what's kind of sucks about that is that the film grain does add a style to the visuals. There is an extra, like, a little bit, but the grain is too much. It's too damn grainy, man. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so anyway, so now my screen is crisp and clear, you know, and whatever. All right, anyways, man, I so far I'm deeply impressed, and I love this game, man. It's really cool. It's really cool. I think I mentioned I had, like, all these notes, even the negatives. There weren't many. Especially they're kind of normal, right? There are some constant bugs throughout, but it hasn't been game breaking. It has not ruined my experience. I really do hope if they polish this game bug wise and stuff. So far, I think this is perfection. Pretty much, man. This is just amazing. And I hope, and I don't know, but I'm expecting that I'll probably still feel the same by the time I complete the game. One of the things I thought too is I don't even know if I'm gonna beat this before my month subscription is over. Like, I probably will, but I'm taking my time, which is why I decided. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, I probably won't have a review out for at least a month, you know. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, I already had so much to say. I already had so much to say about this game, so much that I'm just in love with and having a great time, that I wanted to share that for launch, I guess, you know. But I don't want to oversell it. I don't want, you know, whatever. What I think is, if you already thought it looked cool, then there's no reason for you to, like, not get it, unless you just need to wait for a sale because you're poor. Right? That's why I subbed, man. Because I would have, you know, got the full version. And now I'm like, man, I probably should have just done that. But now I'm, you know, it's a lot of money, man. So the interesting thing on that is then you spent the $20 for, you know, the subscription. So either way, you're already $20 into the game. So no matter how much it goes on sale for, you remember, like, you know, the game would have to go on sale for $30 or $40 for it to be like the regular price, kind of, you know. And that's thinking about the Ultimate Edition going on sale for that much. And what a pain. No, all this microtransaction nonsense is just disgusting, man. Especially Ubisoft. I mean, it's everybody, including indies. It's the entire damn industry. It's just disgusting nonsense. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna go now. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think if you played the game or you plan to check it out. You know, whatever. Remember, COVID is a lie. Trump assassination attempt was fake, and the Mandela effects are real. All right, have fun with that. Bye bye.